Wrapping things up here at Neyland Stadium, Tennessee wins a season opener over Chattanooga 69-3. I'm Vince Ferrara alongside Josh Ward from Josh and Swain. Of course, I co-host Sports Talk 6 to 9 a.m. on the Sports Animal with Mr. John Wilkerson. So all kinds of excitement about this football team going into the season, Josh. Baseball team won the national championship, increased expectations for this team. They delivered from the jump, pretty dominant for Tennessee today.
Yeah, Tennessee did everything that you'd kind of asked them to do in this kind of game where Tennessee goes in with an obvious advantage. They're massive favorites against Chattanooga. The passing attack was explosive right away, big passes. Dante Thornton with the kind of performance that he had coming off a season-ending injury last year, where the season was disappointing, but he had that touchdown against Missouri. He looked like he was starting to play better football, and then to come out and play the way that he did against Chattanooga, that's a positive. Brew McCoy was involved early. You see him back from the injury that he suffered as well. And then Nico himself, he looked really good. Ethan Davis with the touchdown catch early. I think he's a player that will be a factor that's really important in this passing attack. And Dylan Sampson had a big day. He could do all that he wanted to. The line of scrimmage, Tennessee was clearly much better. But that's what you want to see. If you know that you have the personnel advantage up front, you want them to dominate. Tennessee dominated.
Yeah, and you don't want to mess around with opponents like this. I mean, they struggled against Austin Peay a year ago. You saw some teams from Power 5 schools struggle with their non-conference opponents. Some dominated, and Tennessee certainly did that today. And I love the fact that they rotated guys in earlier than what we've seen. And Josh Heupel kind of talked about it in the post game. Hey, some of you guys gave me grief for all the oars in the depth chart. Warranted, but because it was silly. They were still clear starters, I think, at most positions. But I like that they didn't wait until the second half to start rolling those guys in. They got them some quality snaps early in the ball game.
Yeah, Tennessee's depth and a lot of position groups is real. There are still questions in certain position groups. The offensive line is one. I don't think anybody is saying otherwise, where if Cooper Mays were to go down with injury or some other spots. Dane Davis played in the first half at tackle, and he is kind of like their sixth man on the offensive line because he could be an option at center, he could be an option at tackle. But the defensive line is just incredibly deep. That's going to give Tennessee a chance, I think, against just about anybody this season. The wide receiver position is deeper. Like last year, Dante Thornton came in, and Josh Heupel talked about Tennessee being thin at slot. They had scored wide, of course, but then Dante played in that spot. There wasn't real competition. There was this year for wide receiver snaps. So there are a number of groups where they're clearly faster. They're clearly more talented. They still have young guys that have some development to show. But think about the way the game ended. Jordan Ross, I don't know how much, if at all, he'll factor in at the edge this year. But you can see what kind of athlete he is, and he shows up looking the part. Tennessee has recruited really well, and they have more talent to use. The running back room is another one where we'll still see in big games, but getting Cam Selton back makes that room more whole.
Boog Carter, man, he really flashed and showed big time. I mean, he had, back there for punt returns, but man, getting after the quarterback, you can just see the speed and explosiveness that he brings to the table. So I asked Keenan Peely about him in the post game. Has he been doing that all camp? He's like, no doubt about
he's
it.
A baller.
Yeah, so exciting. And 717 yards of total offense. That's third all time in Tennessee history for a single game, just 7 yards short of that Missouri game in 2022. So it was really everything today.
Yeah, Nico talked about wanting to finish the second quarter stronger, and that would probably be the one negative takeaway when you have all of these positives. Right. And that's a good thing that's his mindset. He said, something you learn, keep your foot on their throat.
Right.
So Nico's for real, as others have said or others have predicted. It's just, I don't think there's any question that he will end up being a very high-level SEC, which means quarterback around the nation. He is that level player. So Tennessee fans saw a glimpse of what he would be able to do against Iowa. He showed it against a much lesser opponent against Chattanooga, but he started perfect on his first 10 throws. Yeah. And some of them were easy throws, some of them weren't.
Right.
And he has it. He has the physical ability, but he understands the position. His teammates rally around him. Nico is going to give Tennessee a chance to win a lot of games.
He didn't force anything. I know Josh Heupel wasn't trying to overpraise him in the postgame too. Said, hey, there's things you guys don't see that we will see and we will evaluate him on. 314 yards passing in the first half. That's all-time best for a single half for a Tennessee quarterback. That's pretty special too.
Yeah, he's only started 2 games. So there haven't been many opportunities for him to do it. This is his first time at Neyland Stadium, and he's done it. So again, we can reference the opponent, but he also did better than anybody ever has in a half in terms of passing yardage. So they're going to put up a lot of yards, they're going to put up a lot of points, and they're going to be difficult for a lot of teams to beat because trying to keep up with Tennessee's offense is going to be a big challenge.
All right, wrap things up. Just a quick thought looking ahead to NC State. They struggled a little bit with Western Carolina. Tennessee very convincing here. Neutral site in Charlotte. What's a quick thought on that next Saturday?
Well, if NC State's offensive line isn't better than it was this past Thursday, that's going to be really problematic for the Wolfpack. They are much better than Chattanooga, which I think everybody recognizes. And one game to the next does not exactly tell us what's going to happen. But Tennessee, I think, is going to go in with a clear advantage with its personnel. If Tennessee avoids turning the football over on offense, if Tennessee's able to pressure Grayson McCall, I think he might turn it over. They have talent. They have a wide receiver in Concepcion who had a big debut after a big season last year. So there will be clear keys for Tennessee in trying to get a win against NC State. But Tennessee's going to have a good chance next week.
Josh, appreciate it. Look forward to hearing you and Jason break it down and the entire station. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Check out Josh and Swain noon to 3, and then John Wilkerson and myself 6 to 9 a.m. And then, of course, the Eric Gaines show in between, and then Tyler and Will in the afternoon. Full breakdowns on the way starting on Monday. And then don't forget Sunday Sports Sound-Off with Jimmy Himes and Judge Tim Irwin as well. That'll do it from Neyland Stadium. Tennessee beats Chattanooga 69-3. Vols 1-0 headed to Charlotte to play NC State next week. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon here on 99.1, The Sports Animal. See ya.